And welcome to the regular meeting of the Madera City Council. Today is Wednesday, April 19th, 2023. It is now 6 p.m. The Madera City Council meetings are open to the public. This meeting will also be available for public viewing and participation through Zoom. Members of the public may also observe the live stream meeting on the city's website at www.madera.gov/live. Members of the public may comment on agenda items at the meeting or remotely through an electronic meeting via phone by dialing 669-900-6833. Enter ID 869-3519-7956 hashtag. Comments will also be accepted via email at citycouncilpubliccomment@madera.gov or by regular mail at 205 West 4th Street, Madera, California, 93637. We now call this meeting to order. Alicia, would you call the roll, please?
Mayor Garcia,
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Mejia,
Here.
Councilmember Gallegos,
Here.
Councilmember Rodriguez,
Here.
Councilmember Montes,
Here.
Councilmember Evans,
Here.
Councilmember Villegas.
Here. We will now have the invocation led tonight by Councilmember Anita Evans.
When we were young, so many of us were taught, Jesus loves me. Yes, I know. It's a childhood lullaby that so many of us went to sleep by at night. But when you think about it, we all are God's children, no matter what religion we serve, no matter who we call, but we serve one master. And I just want to say, thank you, Heavenly Father, for watching over each and every one of us today, for bringing us into this building, Lord, and for touching each and every one of us, giving us traveling grace to and from. Continue to watch over this city, Father. Continue to watch over each and every one of us. Touch the hospital, Lord, because we need a hospital here. Touch the hands of those that are working on funding the hospital right now. Continue to bring this council together to serve each and every one in this city of Madera, this beautiful city. We love you, Father God. We thank you, and we ask these blessings in your Son's precious name, Christ Jesus. Amen.
We will now have the Pledge of Allegiance led today by Parks and Recreation Director Heber. Thank you, Joseph. We will now move on to the approval of the agenda. If anyone has any comments or corrections to the agenda, I'll bring it back to my colleagues for corrections and additions or a motion to approve.
Move to approve the agenda as presented.
Second.
Motion to approve the agenda by Councilmember Montes, second by Councilmember Gallegos. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. We will now move on to public comment. The first 15 minutes of the meeting are reserved for members of the public to address the council on items which are within the subject matter jurisdiction of the council. Speakers shall be limited to 3 minutes. Speakers will be asked but are not required to identify themselves and state the subject of their comments. If the subject is an item on the agenda, the mayor has the option of asking the speaker to hold a comment until that item is called. Comments on items listed as a public hearing on the agenda should be held, until the hearing is opened. The council is prohibited by law from taking any action on matters discussed that are not on the agenda, and no adverse conclusion should be drawn if the council does not respond to public comment at this time. Is there any members of the public who would like to speak under public comment? If so, please address the public.
Thank you very much, Mayor, members of the council, community members, Arnoldo Rodriguez, City Manager. It's pretty rare that I speak during public comment. I think it's the second time in my 4.5 years that I've done it, but I simply want to take a few minutes to acknowledge and thank Mark Sodders, our IT manager. I don't see him on screen, but I can assure you he's listening in right now. He's typically watching it on YouTube, or he's typically running around trying to troubleshoot something so this meeting can go smoothly. Mark's been with the city for about 6 years, and Mark is going to be separating from the city here in about a week, moving on to greener pastures with Valley Air Pollution Control District. I simply want to acknowledge Mark publicly. Mark has been a tremendous asset for the organization and for the community. Mark is one of those individuals that he's usually in the background, but Mark is one of the reasons that this organization can operate smoothly. He oversees our IT services department. And one thing to acknowledge Mark for is the city, where his role is a 24/7 operation. He oversees making sure that our police officers have clear communications, that their systems are up and running, making sure that our police officers have body cameras. Every one of our police units has 2 cameras built in. It's all tied together into a very robust and elaborate network. And that's all to the effort of Mark and his team. Mark is tremendous at saving the community money. And Mark can negotiate like no one other. He's an excellent negotiator. We have extremely I don't want to say sophisticated, because it is sophisticated, but Mark makes it easy in terms of our network systems. As other organizations have been hacked, we've been very fortunate that Mark has kept us safe. The past couple of years, especially with COVID, when we sent employees to work from home and for remote work, Mark made sure that everyone was up to speed, that they had the resources they needed to work from home. And then also, as we've relocated our members here in the organization from one building to the other, Mark and his team always make sure that they have the resources they need. So I simply want to acknowledge Mark. I want to wish him well. We're going to miss him. Hopefully he doesn't forget about us. And again, so Mark, I'm confident you're watching. Thank you very much for your public service. And if you ever need anything, can simply reach out. And with that, if the council or the community ever have an opportunity to thank him, I'm confident that he would appreciate it. So thank you very much, Mayor.
Ronaldo, if normally we don't comment on public comment, but in this case, I would just ask that you bring him back so we could thank him appropriately and then provide him maybe with a small gift.
Absolutely, Mayor.
If you could just invite him back at some time.
Okay. Absolutely.
All right,
Thank you.
Thank you. Is there any other public comment? Anyone else want to speak under public comments? Okay, we will now, we don't have any public comment on Zoom or on emails, Alicia?
We have none, Mayor.
Thank you very much. There are no written communications. We will now have some presentations. Angel, would you please come up to the podium? This proclamation, City of Madera, Office of the Mayor's Office, is acknowledging Community College Month. And so I'll, not being long-winded, don't want to be long-winded, I'm going to let Angel explain exactly what we're doing and presenting him with this.
Yeah, thank you so much, Mayor, City Council, Mayor Pro Tem, for the opportunity to be here today. As you all know, community colleges provide an opportunity to educate our community. And we, as most of you know, became a college in July of 2020. During the pandemic, I first arrived to Madera in May of 2019. So I'm about to hit 4 years. I had, my hair looked like Arnaldo's, and now I look more like Superintendent Lyles. I'm kidding. I've always had it like this, for those of you that don't know me. But it's been great work, and you all made it easy for us to move from a center to a community college. We take great pride in serving the students of the city of Madera, the county of Madera, within our service district. We educate, we provide a skilled workforce, and we also provide the opportunity for our students in our community to transfer to 4 years, whether it's UC Merced, Fresno State, or others within the state of California or beyond. And I just want to thank you all for supporting us. And each of you, have been on our campus for one thing or another. So I just, I don't necessarily have all the words to thank you, but we wouldn't be here today without all of your support. So thank you so much, Mayor Garcia and members of the council and Mayor Pro Tem, for the opportunity to recognize the great work that community colleges do for all of us. So thank you so much. Yeah. And I have some gifts. I never, it's always to have good swag. I don't think you need to report this. It's not.
If I could just comment real fast, Dr. Reyna, I'd like to thank you for your 4 years of service. And just to let you know, there's still a lot of work to do. So hopefully you're not going anywhere anytime soon, because we love the partnership that we have with you.
Yeah. Get your swag.
Mr. Mayor, if I may, I too wanted to recognize Dr. Reyna. Just want to let you know how thankful we are for not only taking a leadership role in our community, but also being a role model for a lot of the kids out there, especially in our community, Latino community, all community, but more importantly, the role that you play at the community college. Really appreciate that. Thank you for your leadership.
De nada. Maddie Mendez, this proclamation is from the office of the city of Madera. Whereas crime victim rights acts guarantee victims the right to meaningfully participate and use their voice in the criminal justice process. And whereas the right to provide an impact statement assures that victims' voices are considered in court during the sentencing period. So we extend to you this proclamation in an acknowledgement of Crime Victims' Rights Week.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem, City Council members, city staff, and community members. My name is Maddie Mendez. I'm the Executive Director of a Community Action Partnership of Madera County. We have Victims' Rights Weeks, which begins next week. We have displays of victims. These are individuals that were killed, and we honor their family members and the victims in a memorial. And we give time for them to connect with each other, talk of their stories, and we provide them with support. We also honor those in 2023 that will be award recipients for individuals that support victims of crime. And it is on a flyer. You can find the flyer on our Facebook page. And we thank the city for the support. It's very difficult for our families that are victims of crime. And it's the staff have to have a certain passion to work with these individuals. And that's what we have within Maritza Mata and Walter Perez, and led by Leticia Lujan. So we thank you for recognizing, we thank you for honoring the victims each year. And we are just proud to be part of this community. Thank you. I also wanted to announce April 26th is Denim Day. We hope that you will participate and share your pictures on social media. And we'll be taking pictures, and we'll stop by the city, and hopefully everybody has their jeans on, and we'll take a picture up front.
Take a picture.
Yeah.
Okay, come on up to the.
Thank you. Thank you so
Come
much.
on up. We'll
We
take-
will.
we'll take- Maddie, could you mention their names again, please? Could you mention their names again?
Yes. This is Walter Perez. You've been with the organization
6 years.
6 years, and Maritza Mata. 8 years. 8 years. They're victim advocates. They support families in the court. So thank you.
Congratulations. Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. It's like moving an army. Es un ejército. La próxima presentación es para el grupo de voluntarios, en el mes de voluntarios de en el grupo de Madera, Latinos Madera Club. Ellos son tienen una membresía de inmigrantes, personas y mujeres, hombres y mujeres de color que participan en la comunidad, y por eso lo estamos dando honor este día. Sí, por favor, puede pasar, Mónica, y introducir su grupo, por favor, y pasen para acá. Hagan lugar como puedan. Ujú. ¿Cómo se llama la niña?
Muy buenas tardes a todos ustedes. Abril es el mes del voluntario. En Latinos Madera Club estamos agradecidos con la ciudad de Madera por el reconocimiento de proclamación. El día de hoy es otorgado a nuestros miembros en el mes del voluntario. Mi nombre es Mónica Bravo. Buenas tardes a todos ustedes. Alcalde Santos García, miembros de la mesa directiva, representantes de nuestra comunidad e invitados de honor. Nos llena de orgullo el saber que el voluntario tiene la misión de servicio, entrega, compromiso, trabajo arduo y solidario. Es sinónimo de valentía, respeto, inclusión y representa la unión de nuestra cadena de ayuda. Los voluntarios donamos nuestro tiempo, trabajo y esfuerzo. Todo esto lo hacemos con mucho amor y entrega, sin esperar nada a cambio. Somos personas que formamos parte de una comunidad donde nuestro objetivo es aportar a nuestros semejantes lo mejor de nosotros mismos y crear un mundo y una comunidad mejor. April is the month of the volunteer. At Latinos Madera Club, we are grateful to the city of Madera for the proclamation recognition given to our members in Volunteer Month. Good afternoon. Again, my name is Mónica Bravo. Welcome to Santos Garcia, board members, friends, and guests of honor. Bringing us joy to know that all volunteers have the mission of service, commitment, hard work, and support. As volunteer, we donate our time, work, and effort. We do all this with a lot of love and without expecting anything in return. We are people who are part of a community where our goal is giving our people the best of ourselves, creating a better community. We want to thank Felisa Cruz, Lidia Madriz, Lilia Alvarez, Maria Preciado, Juana Talavera, Sofía Cepeda, Juan Preciado, María Cepeda, Rosa Flores, María Rubio, Antonia Espinosa, Viviana Joya, Reina Cortés, Rosario Rosales, Estela Ramírez y su servidora Mónica Bravo. Thank you so much.
There.
However you can.
I'll stand in the back.
Please.
I don't want to block anybody.
Para adelante, para adelante. Okay.
Sure. Okay.
Ready? 1, 2, 3. Latinos. Thank you. Thank you.
Porque esto va a ser aburrido. De aquí adelante fue aburrido. I was saying the rest of the meeting is going to be boring. So if you want to leave, that's fine with us. Here you go, Monica. Okay, gracias. Oh, no. I know, now business, huh? We will now move on to, there are no workshops. We'll move on to the consent calendar. Item B is the consent calendar. Matters listed under the consent calendar are considered routine and will be enacted by. Yeah.
I was gonna say if you can hold off.
Yeah, no, I'll do that.
Let the room clear.
We will now move on to the consent calendar. Matters listed under the consent calendar are considered routine and will be enacted by one motion and one vote. There will be no separate discussion of these items. If discussion is desired, a member of the public or a member of the council may request an item be removed from the consent calendar and it will be considered separately. Any members of the public wish to comment on the consent calendar? Seeing none, I will close that portion. We'll ask my colleagues for comments and a motion on the consent calendar.
To approve consent.
Second.
Motion to approve the consent calendar by Councilmember Montes, seconded by Mayor Pro Tem Mejia.
Thank you, my computer.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. We will now move on to item C, public hearings. Item C1, I believe, Mr. Tackett, do you have item C1?
Mayor Garcia, Rafael Magion, our chief building official, was going to present, but was having some audio issues. Rafael, is that worked out now? It looks not. I'll go ahead and take this item. This item is to adopt the California building codes effective January 1st of this year. These are the 2022 codes. The codes run on a 3-year cycle. So this is the 3-year cycle beginning with 2022. Staff does have one change to its recommendation, and it pertains to the ordinance. I apologize, this is my fault. I made an incorrect reference. Section 9-1.09 of the ordinance pertains to Appendix Z of the residential building code. That should reference emergency housing rather than net zero energy compliance paths. So that section should read as follows. For the purpose of regulating 1 and 2 family dwellings, the 2022 California Residential Code promulgated by the California Building Standards Commission and including Appendix Z, emergency housing, which incorporates the adoption of the 2021 edition of the International Residential Code, is hereby adopted by reference thereto, as it fully set forth in this chapter, et cetera. So staff is recommending that one change to the ordinance. We have no other changes to our report or recommendations. We are not proposing to adopt any local amendments to the California regulations, just the 2 appendices of the building code and the residential code, which provide provisions for emergency housing should we need them. That concludes my presentation, and I'm available to field any questions the council may have. Thank you.
Are there any members of the public wishing to comment on item C1? Any written comments?
No written public comment, Mayor, and no one on Zoom.
Thank you very much. I will now close public comment on item C1, bring it back to council for comment and a motion.
I so move to approve C1 as presented.
Second.
Motion to approve item C1 by Councilwoman Gallegos, seconded by Councilmember Villegas. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Thank you very much. We will now move on to item D, petitions, bids, resolutions, ordinances, and agreements. Item D1 is referencing McNally Park. Joseph? We can see your screen.
See it?
Yes.
Voila. Mr. Mayor, Mayor Pro Tem, council members, and welcome guests and colleagues. My name is Joe Hebert. Is it on?
Yeah.
I'm presenting this presentation for item D1, McNally Park amenities and playground equipment purchases. The Community Development Block Grant CDBG fiscal year 2022-23 allocation of $609,000 for McNally Park. The improvements planned include the replacement of park amenities such as playground, benches, trash receptacles, drinking fountains, as well as the reconstruction of basketball courts in the area. This is some pictures of what it looks like today. We hope to make significant improvements. We got this grant some time ago. Again, the trash receptacles and the playground equipment obviously needs some updating in TLC. In June 15th, 2022, the council approved 2 tentative CDBG capital projects, public improvement allocations for the city, each in the amount of $25,000, the remaining balance of $609,307. In July 2022, council also improved the allocation of a remaining balance of $609,307 to the McNally Park project for rehabilitation and improvements. In February 2023, council approved a resolution approving city's allocation of CBDG funds towards McNally Park, as this had yet to formally be approved by council. In December 2022, the council approved ordinance 99.6 C.S, amending the city's municipal code, adding Title II purchasing procedures. This allows the city to utilize a cooperative purchasing procedure through the city manager to purchase supplies, equipment, or service without completing the city's bidding or proposal process from any supplier who previously offered to another public agency as the lowest bidder pursuant to the competitive bidding or proposal process required by that other public agency. After reviewing the available purchase options, we considered the need to expend a significant amount of CDBG funds by June 30th, 2023. I've since been advised that we probably need to spend this sooner. Using a cooperative purchasing agreement representing the most advantageous purchasing strategy and not utilizing a cooperative purchase agreement would have substantially extended the procurement process and lead times. March 6, 2023, the city released a request for quotes using this process. And it's on comparecoops.com, a site that caters to vendors that exclusively have cooperative contracts. March 24, 2023, the city ended quote solicitations and 2 quotes were received. One was considered incomplete. The winning bidder was Superior International Industries, with a quote of $213,123.18. What this quote will provide is new benches, trash bins, picnic tables, barbecue grills, ADA pet water fountains, playground equipment for ages 2 to 5, and more equipment for 5 through 12. Still pending is the procurement of a safety perimeter fence around the playground equipment. We're going to do some restroom rehabilitation. And then we're also going to reconstruct the basketball courts at that park, and we have significant funds to do that. The financial impact on this is purchases under the cooperative purchase agreement will be made from the Parks and Community Services Department, our facilities and improvement funds. Sufficient funding is available in our budget. Oops. I don't know why I've lost this. I don't know. Anyway, I was at the end anyway. So our recommendation is to adopt a resolution for approving a cooperative purchase agreement with Superior International Industries for McNally Park amenities and play equipment. As mentioned, we have enough money in our budget to cover this, and the winning bidder was Superior International Industries. And that concludes my presentation. If you have any questions.
Thank you, Joseph. Are there any members of the public wishing to comment on item D1, the McNally Park improvements? Do we have any on Zoom or written comments, Alicia?
We have none, Mayor.
Okay. I will now close public comment and we will bring it back to council for comments and or a motion. Do we have a motion?
Move to approve item D1.
Second.
Motion to approve item D1 by Councilmember Montes, second by Councilwoman Gallegos. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Thank you very much. And we look forward to having McNally Park spruced up a bit. Yeah. Thank you very much, Joseph.
All right. Well, I guess I'm not going anywhere. So
We will now move on to item D2. Joseph, I believe you also have this item.
If I can get this thing to share.
Yes,
Okay.
you got it.
All right. So this is item D2, and it's a request to waive rental fees for Rotary Park for the farmers market. The projected dates are June 1st through September 14th, 2023. The Madera Coalition for Community Justice is requesting the city waive rental fees for Rotary Park Picnic Area 1 from the time stated. The coalition is stepping in to continue the event, as the event was last overseen by the Madera Community Hospital through its nonprofit foundation. The area that they're looking to do the farmers market is right here as proposed. You can see this is at Rotary Park right there off of Gateway. The coalition has applied for market match funding. Expected funding to cover the basic event necessities, the planning components, such as operational materials, supplies, advertisement, permits, farmer recruitment, and staffing. Should they not be awarded the funding, they have a plan to solicit sponsorship, and they would do fundraising to secure the spot. The benefits for having the farmers market include, but are not limited to, increased local access to affordable, healthy food, continued support of SNAP and WIC, fresh local produce picked and eaten at the height of ripeness, support for local farmers, support of local agencies and organizations through resource booths, and buying local products. The environment, buying local protects the environment by reducing energy consumption and the miles traveled, getting produce from farm to table. In 2022, the event drew 150 visitors weekly. We will, as a park staff, we will require that they will meet rental insurance requirements, and additional permit and certification requirements as well. The city would become a sponsor of the event, with the city logo incorporated into promotional materials, as well as a city highlight event on various platforms. This represents the amount of fees that would be waived from June through September, approximately $2,400. And our recommendation is that we waive the fees for this effort. If there's any, that concludes my presentation.
Thank you, Joseph. Any members of the public wishing to stand and speak on this item?
So first of all, I want to thank everybody for allowing us to be here and share with you guys a little bit about the farmers market. As he mentioned, this was an event that has been taking place usually at the Madera Community Hospital. But however, with the closure of the hospital, the Madera Coalition was lucky enough in volunteering to be able to help bring this event to the community. As you guys can see behind us, we have many of the farmers that benefit from this, but most importantly, the community of Madera benefits from this event. Not only did they get affordable access to fruits and vegetables, but it's also a great place for your family to come and hang out. We want to make this an event that's available for everybody. So, you know, God willing, with your guys' input and you guys being able to accept this motion, we'll be able to continue carrying on this event. So you want to share something?
I want to say thank you for having us here, and I hope you approve this. This is important for the community. Our neighborhood farmers market goals for 2023 are increase local access to affordable, healthy food in our community, continue supporting supplemental nutrition assistance programs, maximize WIC vouchers redemption, and support our local farmers, and promote local agencies and non-profit organizations. Neighborhood farmers market serves our community, providing access to affordable fresh fruit and vegetables. And this is produced by local small farmers. Farmers market promotes health and wellness by inviting local government and nonprofit agencies to bring information about their programs and resources. For example, last year, we invited 24 local organizations like Madera Coalition. We invite the Army. We invite the Alzheimer Association, volunteers, tobacco prevention program, First Five, and Pequeños Empresarios, Chirla, Camarena, and all the other organizations to share resources with our community and programs available. We also support and promote California supplemental nutrition programs such as EBT, WIC, and CalFresh. Last year, we gave $23,000 on vouchers, $30 for family. And we sold around $8,500 between EBT and Market Match. So this is the programs that we have for our low-income community. If we don't have the farmers market, our community will lose these benefits, especially the WIC vouchers. That's a large amount for our community, our low-income community. And also the Market Match program, we're gonna lose it too. The Market Match is a nutrition incentive program that gives extra money to shoppers enroll in CalFresh. And this is to buy fresh fruit and vegetables at the farmer's market. And how this program works is when people use their federal nutrition benefit at farmer's market, this program, Market Match, provides matching funds so that customers can buy even more fruit and vegetables. For example, a customer who spends $50 on CalFresh benefits at the farmer's market receives an additional $15 on Market Match to buy more products at the farmer's market. So I ask you for your support for our farmers market. I also want to add that since the hospital closed and we don't have the support of the foundation anymore, I am organizing all this since January on my own time, submitting application to the state, to all these programs, organizing the farmers and doing all this job. All this work, because I don't want our community to lose these benefits. I have worked with our low-income community for many years, and I know maybe for some of us here, $30 is nothing, and we won't notice the difference in our table. But for our low-income families, it does, believe me, it does. And also, to support the farmers. They are small farmers, and we, as the farmers market, we don't charge them to sell their products, so that way they can make a little bit of money. I know that it's hard for them to make profits. So I would ask you for your support. Thank you. Do you have any question?
Yeah. Are there any members of the public wishing to ask questions regarding the farmers market? Absolutely. Absolutely. Come ahead.
Thank you for having us this evening. I've been doing this for 3 years, coming to Madera, and I love coming over here. I love the people, the organization, the farmers. Suma, she's running it in her group, and it's been very pleasant to come over here and work with everybody. It's one of the things about this one here is local produce. It's right from the farms. I see the benefits for the people coming in, and it's really nice. You get, you come back each week and purchase more from us, but it's just that, chance opportunities for them to get local stuff in a reasonable price and in quality. That's what's nice about this. And I think it's kind of a nice opportunity to maybe waive fees, make it a little bit more help us out a little bit as far as the farmers go. But we appreciate any support you can give us. But one thing, the last thing to say is not many cities get behind farmers markets. It seems like I saw it other markets around the valley here, and this is an opportunity for Madera to actually put their, show us their pride in their community by supporting something like this. And that make me feel really good because I know how the other communities are. And some of them don't, like Mer said, they don't support the markets. They fight us. So Madera is not that kind of community I've seen from the past 3 years. So I hope you consider us in our petition and waive this fee, please. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hola, mi nombre es Ignacio. Yo soy de aquí de Madera. Crezco mis verduras locales y trato de ser un poco orgánico. Bueno, 100% casi soy orgánico. Y me gustaría que nos soportaran a nosotros. Somos pequeños farmers de aquí de Madera y pues me gustaría que ustedes soportaran a los small farmers. Y pues ahorita hemos batallado mucho por las aguas. Nos benefician las aguas, pero no es suficiente, ¿verdad? Y pues también nosotros de eso nos mantuvimos a nuestros hijos desde pequeños y pues gracias a ellos no nos cobran, a Zulma, a Omar no nos cobran y pues en otros lugares vamos a San Francisco, nos cobran $100 por la entrada y más el 15% y pues en Madera nosotros no nos cobran y nosotros ayudamos a la comunidad también. Yo soporto también al Food Bank y a lo que nos sobra de extra verduras en nuestros campos, se los doy también a la misión y pues nos gustaría que nos soportaran a nosotros con el parque para proveerles fruta fresca a la gente. Gracias.
Muchas gracias.
I just wanted to add one more thing. I just wanted to thank the city council, the city of Madera, Joseph, Gabby, Police Chief Lawson, for everybody who's been able to help us in this process and help us with applying for this fee waiver and stuff like that. We appreciate your guys' help. I also want to thank the community of Madera for supporting our farmers market. Thank you.
Mi nombre es Antonio Díaz, vengo de Fresno y he estado como unos 10 años en Farmers Market aquí en Madera, en el cual me han ayudado mucho, para mí, para toda mi familia, en la cual también mis hijas me ayudaron y ahora ya ellas ya se graduaron, ya no están conmigo, pero yo sigo vendiendo fruta para tenerles a toda la comunidad. Y en esta ocasión, pues queremos saber si nos ayudan que no nos cobraran y varias cosas que necesitamos porque pues no nos ha ido muy bien, pero necesitamos de toda la gente, no nomás de pocos, sino que necesitamos de todos. Poquito de todos no es nada y eso nos ayudaría mucho y en sus manos estamos si continuamos con la marqueta y gracias a Suma que nos ha ayudado demasiado, pero aquí estamos. Gracias. Con permiso.
Gracias a usted.
Buenas tardes, mi nombre es María Ferrer. Yo quería hacer un pequeño comentario. Nosotros estamos en el Farmers Market desde el 2011, pero hemos tenido, no sé, un poquito de mala suerte, ¿verdad? De que primero nos tenían en un lugar, después nos movieron allá al Departamento de Salud, después al hospital y ahorita al parque, ¿verdad? Entonces quisiéramos como que un lugarcito más estable también. De repente, porque la gente, los clientes se descontrolan y dicen, este año no va a haber Farmers Market, ¿qué va a pasar con nuestros cupones que nos dan de parte del WI? Y ustedes saben, Madera es un pueblo pues que se mantiene de la agricultura, los sueldos no son muy buenos para la gente, entonces un poco de ayuda para la población pues pienso que es bueno, ¿verdad? Pero ellos también de repente están con la incógnita de que si va a haber este año Farmers Market, en dónde va a ser, perdí mis cupones porque no sabíamos a dónde iba a estar, cosas así nos comentan los clientes a nosotros, entonces sí como que es medio triste que nos están moviendo pues muy seguido de locación, ¿verdad? Entonces, a ver, no sé si eso también estuviera un poquito en sus manos, de darnos un lugarcito más estable, porque nosotros estamos desde el 2011 y son como 4 locaciones que nos han movido. Entonces los clientes dicen, no, mejor pierdo mis cupones o me voy a Fresno y cosas así. Y como dijo mi esposo, nosotros nos mantenemos de eso, somos pequeños. Primero nos golpeó el COVID. Estuvimos sobreviviendo y trabajando y cerraron algunos mercados y ahorita pues se vino lo del agua. Muchos perdieron cosechas porque fue demasiada agua y a veces decimos nosotros, bueno, pero tenemos que seguir. ¿Por qué? Porque es nuestro trabajo, nos gusta hacerlo y eso es todo. Gracias.
Basically, they all were saying, thank you very much for the consideration. It's very important for us to be able to produce our foods and provide for our community. We have been in collaboration with all different types of agencies, including the food bank. And so we wish that you help us get through this period of the COVID and the rains, which has been affecting our work. If we can do this, thank you very much for your consideration on this. Sulman?
Thank you, Mr. Garcia, for the translation. I just wanted to add that last year, our farmers donated fruit for our the kids in detention at the Madera County Juvenile Hall. So they donate every week that we had the farmers market. They donate like a big amount of fruit for these kids. So they support our community as well. And thank you, Mr. Santos, for all the support, for being helping me like through all this. I really appreciate that. And thank you to the Chief Dino as well. And I thank you in advance, all of you, because I know you're going to approve this. Thank you.
Oh, no pressure. No pressure. Good. Okay. Is there any other public comment? Anyone wishing to speak on this item? Then we will close public comment, bring it back to council for approval and or a motion of action under item D2. And we'll start, I have no idea who's first. Councilwoman Evans.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Being a volunteer at the hospital, I was there during the time that you guys and you saw really worked as far as the farmers market and getting everything together. So it was really very productive. I have really one, well, maybe two questions. Because it's right there at Rotary, right on Gateway, had you even considered maybe going to like either Pan Am or McNally, because it's in the neighborhood? And just because of the traffic, I was just curious about that.
Yeah, I can address that.
Okay.
Actually, the permitting process, when they applied for the permit was prior to talking to us, but the permit specifies Rotary Park.
Okay.
We did explore other parks, but what we were advised is that it would take too long. The process would take too cumbersome in order to move to another park at this point. So
Okay.
we're going to see how it works.
Okay. Thank you. That was my question. Yeah.
Councilwoman Gallegos.
Okay, Joe, so don't go far. And because they applied for Rotary, but in the past, before the hospital, they did it at Courthouse Park.
Yeah, that was through the county. I like I said, I wasn't involved in the permitting process when it came to us for the fee waiver. The permit was already.
Because that's the center of our city. That would have been the perfect location. And the community knows that it was held there before. So if we're looking at, future events, that would have been a good opportunity. I've been at the skate park. Our Horseshoe League over there has a lot of problems with some of our unsheltered community members. And so that's a concern for that reason, to put it at that location.
So unfortunately, in our community, I would say that any park you go to, you have that problem with the people that are homeless or vagrant or whatever the term is that we use. Also, the reason that the Rotary Park was picked was because of its location to 99, adequate parking, among other reasons. Also, it was a preferred location to the farmers. And in comment on in the past, it has happened at other parks. we're taking over now, and we obviously this is our like first year of moving from the hospital, so we're kind of a little bit of trial and error. So our goal is, we want to pick what's going to work well with the farmers and what's going to be easily accessible to the rest of the community. One of the reasons why we didn't really push for Courthouse Park, I would say, is because of the availability of parking. And then also, there may be some negative kind of people that are at the park currently at Rotary Park, but there's a lot of positive people that are there too, meaning that there's young youth there that are there for the skate park. People are regularly using other amenities there. So that was also taken into consideration as well.
One more question before you leave, Mr. Gervais. Do the vendors sign a waiver when they get on the property of the park? Does each vendor?
They, in order to be part of the farmers market, they have to put the farmers market in their entrance, so they don't sign a waiver.
So, Joe, I would suggest we look into maybe just to protect the city, a waiver when they're on the park city property, that would be important just for our protection there. And because there's been issues at other facilities. If we're co-sponsoring it by putting our name on it, just for protection in that part, I would think would be important.
And we're having to get the appropriate liability insurance as well, but a waiver would.
That was another question about their
next, so.
liability insurance.
And
Okay.
also, if anybody has any other ideas on how they think it can operate more smoothly, we're totally up to anybody's opinion and recommendations. We know for sure you guys have more experience with this kind of stuff than us, so we're totally open to any recommendations that you guys have. And I personally like your waiver application or doing something like that. Thank you.
Thank you. That's it.
And I just want to add, as a member of the community, and I go to that park with my baby. Well, not a baby, my 5-year-old daughter. I never feel unsafe there. And sometimes
Solman, hold on a second. ¿Puede cerrar la puerta, señor Montes? Thank you.
Sometimes we see homeless there, but as a member of the community, I want our community to take over the park. If we see more presence there, maybe they're gonna move to another place. Or I know they don't come by the playground, and that's the area we are having the farmers market, if you guys allow that. Thank you.
Councilmember Montes?
Yeah, I just had a simple question. So verifying that the day of the event is going to be every Thursday in that time period, correct? Because I apologize if I missed it.
Yeah. From what time to what?
Okay.
From 4 to 7 on Thursdays.
Okay. And it was in the reso, but I don't know how many people read the resolution. They read the staff report, but so that's my question.
Already. Councilmember Rodriguez?
Thank you, Mayor Garcia. Mr. Javid, I thank you for reaching out to me. First of all, I want to say thank you for bringing this out. I know it's a very big community event, and I, through what I've heard so far, it's too big to fail. So I have two questions for you. One is, as far as funding, were you guys aware of the CDBG? Is that something that came before your organization? We just approved some public service grants not too long ago. So my question is, was that something that you considered? Did you apply for it? And the reason for that, I'll go on to my next question, is what would happen in any case that this council did not approve your request to waive fees? And just the fact that you mentioned that it's too big to fail, I'd like to know how you guys are prepared. And I think you mentioned that earlier, but how would you best address that?
So the short answer we'd hit the streets. We'd get out there, we'd do fundraising, we'd ask for sponsorships. We are strategized to do that. Solomon has been very thorough in all of her planning, or our planning. So I would say that that would be the worst case scenario. But we are, I guess we're hoping or praying that the city will step in and act as a partner with us, instead of, kind of hindering us or not making it as easy for us. And again, I'm not trying to be disrespectful. I'm just being from the position of someone from the community. We always expect, our expectation, of course, of is the city that they want to help the community. So in our eyes, we're doing something. And like Solomon said, she's doing this all out of her own time. Same as well for me. We're trying to bring something that's of value to the community. So that would be our goal. And then about the CDBG grant, Solomon can chime in on that too. But if there is still time to apply for money through those grants, no, there's not. Okay. But yeah, if that was brought to our attention earlier, yes, maybe we would have done that. But of course, you know, as things are brought to our attention, suggestions from the community, I think that's why it's so crucial for us to work closely with the city council members, with all of you individually, because you guys, like I said, have a lot more knowledge on how we can make this event successful. And again, I want to add a little bit more to my comment. My impression isn't that you guys are trying to hinder us or make it harder, but I think we also need to work in more collaboration with you guys as well too.
Yeah. And I'll finish with this is that, you know, I would encourage you to partake in that application process with CDBG funding, only because, you know, it's really hard to say no when you bring an audience that really, you know, this is what the community is all about. I think we've already depicted a correlation that this is a benefit to the community. I think the biggest thing for us as policymakers is to really, well, are we selective when we allow an organization or anybody else that wants to come out? I don't want to be hypocritical and say that I'm going to choose this one because it really makes more sense than the one that came prior to you. But not too long ago, there was another organization that had similar benefit to the community. And because lack of policy, we stand here in conflict at times. And I know it's easy. For me, it's easier to say, yeah, hell yeah, let's do it, because there is a direct correlation to the benefit of the community. And it would be very difficult for me not to, but being put in this position, I think it makes it hard for me because now I have to be biased and sometimes selective. And I would like to refer back to staff to hopefully bring us some type of policy where we don't have to, you know, we can see that there's a direct correlation and stuff like this, because it happens. We have it already done with many organizations. I think historically, this council has allowed for waiving of fees for certain things. I just don't want this to be a precedent where it's happening every single week. And then we're having to put in a position where the room is filled and it's hard for us. You know, it's better to have policy. And for us as a policymaker, I think that makes my decision a lot easier for me, being reluctant to look at something like this. So I just want to make sure I share that with you, because I know it's very important, not only to the community, it's important to the small businesses, the farmers, but more importantly, it's very important to the city.
So moving forward, if I can offer us as a guinea pigs, if you guys want to try out your guys' policy on us, I would just move that you guys adopt our waiver and then come up with whatever policy works. And if however you guys decide to make the rules and regulations, we'd be happy to abide by them.
Mayor Pro Tem Mejia.
Totally in agreement with Council Member Rodriguez. Not sure if this is more of a question or a comment. I do understand that you're already far in the permitting process, but you know, as I think that when I first saw this, I just was thinking more of like McNally Park or an area that was more accessible to a lot of our community that walks or uses public transportation. I do understand that this is gonna be, you know, what the farmers wanted, or it was, it would help them. But I think that in the future, it would be good, like not to disregard that. And I imagine as soon as farmers market is over, you're gonna evaluate how it went and see how that played out.
Yeah, put that puppy to bed. Councilwoman Gallegos.
Thank you, Mayor Garcia. It's almost just a chiming in from Mayor Pro Tem about you're saying the permit process is already in place and that you can't move the location. And here we're your partners, and it should have been something that we should have been in communications with, and especially this dais right here saying that we're feeling that other parks were maybe suitable, that we're not having that opportunity. Even our staff is kind of, their hands are tied because the permit process was done without us being a partner in this. So we are like so want to be a partner with your process. This is great for our community. We are in it to win it with you. But again, it has to go through a process, and it's really hard when it's already nailed down and we don't really have an input or say. So that's just something I wanted to chime in from Mayor Pro Tem's about how decisions are made, and it's something great. If it's for our community, it's for our city, we need to be in it together.
I have a question for you. So if you don't waive the fees and we pay for the use of the park and we buy the insurance as a regular event, we still can have the farmers market there?
I don't see one.
Yeah.
We're going to consider that, but I invite you to consider that this is the benefits that the farmers market brings to our community, and we're just asking to use our community park for the benefit of our community. We're not making money out of this. We are a no-profit, and if we need sponsors, I invite you, or donations, I invite you, each one of you, to support us on that, on this, and I will be sending you a letter for donation. Thank you.
I just want to add one more thing. I guess from my part, then I want to apologize that we didn't come to you guys beforehand and come and ask, hey, what do you guys recommend? What is going to be the best part? But to be honest with you guys, we were a little bit on a time crunch with everything that happened with the hospital. And I don't want to have that as an excuse, but going back to the comment that you guys made about policy, as a community member, I don't necessarily know how to approach you guys to do that. And that, of course, is my fault. I know I can pick up the phone and call you guys. Thank God you guys have all been very available to do that. So, of course, like I said, this is a learning experience, and I'm more than happy that if we could have a successful relationship running it this run from the June to September, that moving forward, the city takes a more active role. We would love for that. We would love for, of course, it's going to take a little bit of strain off of us, but we would love to work with more like-minded individuals who have experience doing these kinds of events and can help us have a better event for the community. So with that, I think that's everything. We finalized everything that we need to say. If anybody doesn't have any more questions.
Councilmember Montes.
Sure. Oh, okay.
Yeah, I just wanted to give my opinion as well and agree with pretty much everything that everybody said here. It's a very good event for the community. There's a direct benefit. We can say that. I think, having a CDBG application, and it's too late this year, maybe next year. But I do think that this is a little different than some of the other events that we have discussed here. And so, I think, again, this is a really good event. You can see a direct benefit to the community. And this is different than an ask for money or what you just asked for us to be a more active role. And, and I'm just looking at staff because it's not going to be us that's doing it, right? We can give you our opinion and say, hey, you can look into this, look into that, but us up here are not actually going to go out there and do, well, I mean, I guess we could, but it's going to be more placed on staff. So, but reiterate what the Councilmember Rodriguez said, we do want a better policy, and that's on us, right? But I do think that this is a little bit different than some of the things that we've done in some of the items that we've discussed, and similar to other fee waivers that we have done. And, I do think that this is a good event. So, I think I'd be supporting this. So those are just my comments.
Councilmember Rodriguez.
Thank you, Mayor Garcia. I did have one last question regarding the event. So before us, we have a request to waive rental fees, but you were concerned about not having the park as far as a permit process. My understanding is that you've already applied for it.
And maybe I misspoke on the procedure of how things are done. When I was referring to the permit, I was referring to the fee waiver to use the park.
Okay, but the application and the permitting process has been completed.
The application for farmers market and our market mass, correct, has been completed.
Yeah, because I mean, the last thing you need is, you don't want to scramble for a place, because I think you've already identified the place. What you're asking for is for the waive of the fees, correct? Okay. And however this goes, just know that I will be the first one, or anyone else, that if you reach out to me, we did the same thing with the previous person, previous organization requesting. I am more than happy to do so. But I want to make sure that moving forward, that our staff can bring some policy so that this isn't lie here at the tips of every single individual. But if we have policy, it's more uniform, not only for your organization, but for every other organization out there. Because if you know the people that come to this asking for the same exact thing, if it's not a waiver of fee, if it's a waiver of something, you know, essentially we need to have uniformity in how we deal with this.
I agree.
So it's not your organization. It's on us that we don't have something in place to be able to deal with the request that's being presented before us. So just know that. Thank you. And I'm willing to help with whatever I can to make sure that the event happens, because I know it's that important to the community.
Awesome. Thank you very much. We appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I will now ask for a approval or disapproval from the council. I'm asking for a motion.
I move to approve as presented.
Second.
Motion to approve item D2 for a request to waive the fees for Rotary Park by Mayor Pro Tem Mejia, second by Councilmember Villegas. All those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed?
Aye.
Hey.
Is there two? Is there one? Okay. So two opposed. Do you want to take a roll, please, Alicia?
Councilmember Gallegos,
No.
Councilmember Rodriguez, Councilmember Montes,
Yes.
Councilmember Evans,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Mejia,
Yes.
Councilmember Villegas,
Yes.
Mayor Garcia.
Yes.
Motion passes with 5 yes votes and 2 no votes by Councilmember Rodriguez and Councilmember Gallegos.
Thank you very much, Alicia. We look forward to seeing you at the farmers market. Thank you very much, Councilwoman Evans. Thank you very much for coming tonight and asking for this. This is going to be a benefit to our community. Thank you very much. Muchas gracias. We now move on to item D3. Rescind resolution number 23-05. Marcela, do you have this item?
I do, Mayor.
Is that for this one?
No, I'm just.
There's a lot of people that may need it.
Mm-hmm. And then she just left. Our translator. Yeah, he's doing this. Si alguien tiene necesidad de traducción de español de inglés a español, podemos darle un poquito de ayuda. ¿Hay alguien que quiere traducción?
Oh, okay. She's getting headsets. At least she's getting headsets.
Ajá. Let's wait.
Van a traer baterías para el equipo para que puedan utilizarlo nomás. Permítanos unos momentos.
Yep. And pop it up. Oh, shit, that's what it is. And now hit share. And then drag it back. No? Oh, that's from, is it this one? Okay. Okay, thank you. And we're waiting for headsets, correct?
Yeah, should we take a quick break, Mayor? There's some additional headsets that we're getting ready.
Okay.
I believe we have 20 headsets in total though. So that's
Okay,
probably gonna be
vamos a tomar un descanso de 5 minutos para poder arreglar el equipo para la traducción. Cuando tengamos el equipo listo, nomás levante la mano y le vamos a dar el equipo. Ándele, de nada. You speak louder. No, she turns it off when we go on recess. No idea. cuenta, no vamos a tomar acción sobre ese tema. Es nomás información.
We
Así que
can.
no vamos a hacer una moción de aprobar o no.
Give direction. Give direction,
Oh,
but we can't approve. So it'll come back, right? Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
So it'll be informational only. For a voting of an approval. Okay.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
El tema por el.
Went to the Senate today.
We have to move it up first, right?
It went to the Senate this morning.
Okay, so there's a request that we move item E2, for which all these folks in the audience are going to ask for translation, that we move it up to our next item.
Mayor, I move that we move item E2 to our next.
I second.
And I second.
Okay. Motion to move item E2 to as our next agenda item by Councilmember Montes, second by Mayor Pro Tem Mejia. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. We will now hear item E2. It is an informational item only. Mr. Rodriguez.
Thank you very much, Mayor. Members of the council, Arnoldo Rodriguez, City Manager. I'll speak slowly in consideration of the simultaneous translation services that are being provided this evening. Can we please confirm that the headsets are working?
Good. Thank you, Zelda.
The item before council this evening is an informational report regarding Senate Bill 227. Council may recall at the last council meeting, Mayor Pro Tem and council requested that city staff place this item on the agenda for tonight's evening for discussion. So in terms of background, for the benefit of council and the community, the Senate bill in its entirety is attached to the staff report. So currently, the state's employment insurance is jointly funded by the federal government, which prohibits undocumented workers from working illegally and therefore excludes them from drawing unemployment benefits. It's estimated that there's approximately 100 or 1.6 million individuals that pay into the system that are exempt from receiving any benefits. So again, the existing law prohibits the EDD from paying out unemployment compensation benefits to eligible candidates because, again, they are not they're not permitted to receive those. So currently, there are no benefits paid to those individuals. State Senator Durazo has introduced Senate Bill 227, which would create a separate fund in its entirety to provide benefits to these individuals. And again, it's estimated that 1.6 million people would benefit. The Senate bill itself would provide approximately $300 a week for each week of unemployment for up to 20 weeks. And again, it's up to $300. However, there's always these stipulations, and some of this information, I'm providing a summary. Again, the Senate bill in its entirety is attached to council's packet agenda. My understanding is that the Senate bill was heard today. However, I do not have an update with what was heard today, and I'm not too sure its exact status because, again, my understanding it was scheduled to be heard earlier this afternoon. If that happened at this time, I'm not positive. So right now, as written and as outlined in the staff report, so as of last Thursday when the report was completed, it would require applicants to prove that they worked at least 93 hours or earned a minimum of $1,300 within 3 months during the last 12-month period. The maximum benefit under the state unemployment program is currently $450 per week, with an average being approximately $330. If this were to be enacted, it would be a 2-year program upon which an evaluation would be made at the state level to determine if the program would be continued into a permanent program. So again, this is, in layman's terms, it's a pilot program for 2 years. So this item, was requested by City Council. So we placed it on the agenda. I think council has a couple of different options. One, it can simply serve as an informational item. Another option could be that council direct the city manager to submit a letter of support of this of the bill, or as an alternative, and it's an and/or because you can do one or the other. You could also request that this item be placed at the next council meeting on May 3rd for formal adoption of a resolution in support of the bill. So that concludes staff's presentation, and I'll turn it back over to the City Council. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Arnoldo. So then the alternative is to write a letter of support if the council deems it, or do we bring it back for?
I think you still would have to bring it back because of the way it was agendized. It said and direction, that would have been appropriate, but I don't think it says that the way it's worded. It just says for informational purposes only and no action, and direction is action.
Okay.
But you can
have a discussion.
You can have it at the next meeting, and you can ask that it be placed on consent.
Okay. Como escucharon, este tema es información solamente. No podemos tomar acción hasta que lo pongamos en la agenda. Tiene que decir que el cónsul va a votar o no votar sobre este tema. Así que lo único que podemos hacer es ponerlo para la próxima reunión si el cónsul quiere. Pero en este tiempo, si alguien quiere hablar sobre el tema, por favor vengan y hable sobre el tema. Pásele aquí el micrófono. Sí. We open public comment. Nomás por favor lo mantiene breve porque vamos a ver hasta el próximo reunión lo que vamos a hacer.
En lo que pasa, quiero añadir clarificación que se puede pedir una carta de apoyo y también se puede pedir que en la próxima reunión haya una resolución.
Adelante.
Buenas tardes. Mi nombre es Pedro y venimos a pedir de favor que nos apoyen a la SB 227 porque hemos tenido tantos golpes de la vida, del tiempo también. Pasamos por el COVID, pasamos por estas lluvias, hemos estado sufriendo bastante. No hemos tenido ninguna ayuda de nada. ¿Por qué? Porque no tenemos ese permiso de estar aquí. Pero sí estamos trabajando, apoyando y pagando nuestros impuestos. Yo creo que es un momento o una cosa de que podamos ser merecidos de recibir ese desempleo para poder tener una ayudita. Porque también nosotros trabajamos y aportamos mucho a ya me cuento como a nuestro país, Estados Unidos.
Delta, would you come up here and provide translation, just a brief account of what he said?
Es todo lo que le pido.
Sí, gracias. Ella va a hacer una traducción para los que no hablen español.
Sí.
The gentleman indicated that they have put money into the funds, so they would like support in order to get this passed so that they too can benefit from it. They've been hit hard from COVID and the rains, and so they would like support. They just don't get it because they don't have that little card, but they do put into the funds.
Gracias. ¿Hay alguien más que quiere hablar sobre el tema? Pase adelante, señora.
No. Good evening, Council. I will do it in English. I would like to request as a member of the community. Si puede traducirlo para todo. My apologies. I think it'll be probably smoother if it's simultaneous. Good evening, City Council. As a member of the community, I would like to request that City Council considers putting this on the next meeting agenda for approval on the pre-approved consent calendar. I think we can all agree that
up to $300 a week. We know we can't really make ends meet like that. It's the bare minimum. And I agree that individuals who have been working in the agricultural fields have been contributing more than enough to our community and into California and our nation as a whole. So I feel like $300, it's reasonable. And in reality, it's not reasonable. What they're asking is a bare minimum, less than the minimum if you really think about it. Because I know I can't get by with $300 a week. So I just wanted to ask the City Council considers tonight voting on adding this to the consent calendar for the next meeting. Thank you.
Adelante, ¿alguien más? Y después de esto vamos a cerrar el tema y hablar de este tema en el próximo reunión. Sí.
Buenas tardes, mi nombre es Rosa Hernández y soy originaria de Oaxaca. Estoy aquí con la organización. Como ven, aquí estamos muchos compañeros que somos trabajadores del campo y no nomás nos afectó el COVID, aunque sí fue la mayor parte, pero todos los años nos afecta como los meses que no hay trabajo para nosotros. Todos esos meses nosotros no trabajamos, no tenemos desempleo como los que tienen permiso aquí. ¿Y cómo le hacemos? Pedimos prestado porque cuando empieza el trabajo se nos acabó el ahorro, ya no tenemos ni para la gasolina, entonces tenemos que pedir prestado con los que tienen para que podamos seguir adelante. Como ve, el COVID no paró a mis compañeros porque éramos trabajadores que teníamos que trabajar para sobrevivir. Si no trabajábamos, pues no teníamos que comer o pagar la renta. Por eso estamos aquí, yo y mis compañeros, para que nos apoyen en ese punto de que tengamos un beneficio de desempleo en el tiempo que no tengamos trabajo. Como le digo, cuando hay trabajo sí hay dinero, pero cuando no hay trabajo se nos acabó el dinero a nosotros. Y por eso pedimos esa ayuda de todos ustedes y de los que sí piensan que tenemos razón, que sin dinero no hay comida, no hay renta, no hay... Si tenemos muchos hijos, ¿a dónde vamos? Es muy triste para nosotros, la verdad. Por eso pedimos el apoyo de la propuesta que estamos pidiendo ahorita para el desempleo de trabajadores indocumentados, que somos muchos en este país. No nomás Madera, sino todo California. Muchas gracias.
Muchas gracias a usted.
She indicated that they're not just affected. They have been not just affected by COVID or sometimes they don't have any work, no savings, no gas, and they do have to continue. They have to work to live. They ask for support on this unemployment benefit. Without money, they don't have food for rent. They don't have money for food or rent, and it's sad for them. And there are a lot of undocumented people in the United States.
Thank you. Vamos a cerrar el tema. Por favor, venga. Sí, sí entiendo. Nomás que quiero que sean breve porque tenemos mucho otro trabajo que hacer y no podemos votar en nada más que ponerlo por la agenda por el próximo mes. Así que pase adelante. Pase adelante.
Mayor and Council, just for clarification, I think a lot of people are here. They thought there was going to be action and unfortunately, because of the way the agenda reads, there cannot be action. And what many cities councils do is when people arrive in that way, they allow everybody to speak and give their public comments. Now, at some point, when it does become very repetitive, the mayor may ask, is there somebody here that's going to say something different? And if there are, you hear those people. And if there are not, then you say, okay, we've been here for half an hour, so we're going to, at this point, close public comment. And then again, that's still also the prerogative of the full council. I just wanted to clarify the rules. And the other thing that the reason councils do this is that way people don't have to come back next time and give public comment. And when the staff report is written, if that's a direction, by the way, then it would say 10 people or 15 or 20 or however many spoke in favor of having the council support this measure. Just some clarification.
Yeah, and so if seeing that there's only a few people here, I'd be in favor of that. That need to be in the form of a motion, or okay. Yeah, well, we can continue, and then if we have to, we will. Yeah.
Adelante, por favor.
Buenas noches. Mi nombre es Elvira Domínguez. Tengo 22 años viviendo en Madera. Trabajo en el campo como muchos de mis compañeros aquí presentes todos. En estos años he hecho mis impuestos sin fallar. Sin embargo, no he recibido ningún beneficio debido a mi situación migratoria. Ya es tiempo que todos nosotros los trabajadores llamados esenciales recibamos beneficios de desempleo. Como ustedes saben, hemos pasado tiempos muy difíciles como COVID-19, lluvia, etcétera. Y sin trabajo, más de un mes. Esto para mí ha sido muy difícil económicamente, como el pago de la renta, comida, utilidades, más aún madre soltera. Pido a todos los miembros de la ciudad de Madera que nos apoyen la resolución votando en favor de la SB 227. Es una ayuda fundamental para todas las familias. Gracias.
Gracias a usted.
She indicated she lives in Madera, works in the field, and has done her taxes without fail, but hasn't gotten any unemployment benefits. COVID and the rain have hit them hard. She has been without work for more than a month. She is a single mother and would like support for this so that they can get the unemployment benefits.
Good afternoon, Mayor and City Council members. My name is Sarai Martínez. And before I start, ¿les puedo pedir que se paren todos los que vienen a apoyar esta propuesta? Si se paran también. Gracias. I just wanted to ask them to stand just to see the overwhelming support and the need that your community has. I'm the executive director with Centro Binacional para el Desarrollo Indígena Oaxaqueño, and we have been working in listening to community stories to really advocate for this resolution or law at the state level. $3.7 million are contributed by undocumented workers across the state to the state general fund. We're really asking for a safety net for our community. And we ask that with your leadership, really show the state and the governor that this is needed. We need representatives of Madera here, a city of almost 80% Latinos or Hispanic or indigenous communities to be our voice at the state level and to take action on this item and to let the governor know and the representatives that as a city of Madera, your leadership is gonna move us. New York has this law. Colorado passed it last year. We're asking the state to lead and to make sure that workers have a safety net for when it rains, when people can go back to work. As you know, farm worker is not a year-round job, or when droughts or when fired. So we're really asking here for you to take a stand and to support. We're hoping that with your support, the governor can listen, but we don't know that. So we need you to back us up and to back your community that is here today to ask for you to support this law. So thank you so much for listening to us tonight. And you won't get to hear from all of them, but they're here to share so many stories of not only them, but their families that are being impacted by the lack of rain or the excessive rain of our agricultural fields. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
Gracias.
Adelante, por favor.
Hi, good afternoon. I just want to add, I mean, she summarized it very well, but I just want to make note of the courage that it has taken for all of these individuals to be here today to support a cause that would really benefit them. And I do want to plead to the city council to be those advocates that they need because, you know, life, you hit roadblocks regardless of immigration status. And as they shared earlier, they do contribute to this fund. And it would be very nice for them to be able to have something, even if it's the bare minimum, to help them in a time of need.
Thank you. ¿Hay alguien más que quiere hablar? Si no, vamos a cerrarlo y vamos a discutir eso al final del meeting y para ponerlo en la agenda. Councilmember Rodriguez.
Yes, thank you, Mayor Garcia. First of all, muchas gracias a todos ustedes por estar aquí esta noche. Thank you all for being here. I just want to make a comment in that, you know, we no longer can turn a blind eye and not know and recognize that we have a huge population in our state that may be undocumented. But at the same time, there are the people that are doing the jobs that no one else is doing in hospitality and ag, in all sectors of our industry. And we have to recognize that they're essential. And being that they're essential, we have to know that if that component is no longer there or absent, then all of us suffer. Everything, from everything that you have at your table, from every product that you have, from every walk of life that you see around our state, there is someone in a sector that has provided some piece of labor to that. And we have to recognize that, the request that's being requested before us is to support a pilot program for 2 years, which I think then can be evaluated. I see that as a benefit, not only to this community, but to the state of California. And I hope that we can actually support this, because I have friends, I have family that fall into that category. And I also prepare taxes for many folks that are in this situation. At the end of the day, when pandemics hit, when flooding hits, and they can't work, then they can't pay rent, then again, that becomes a void. It starts really affecting all levels of the economy, not just that specific category. So I think it's important that we recognize that we value what we have, because if this country did not want that, then they wouldn't hire them. But that's not the case. We hire them every single day to meet the demand of the labor that is needed. And that's what's going to lift our generations in the future. So that's who we are. We're a country of immigrants. And I hope that we can continue to support that. So those are my comments, Mr. Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you. Mayor Pro Tem here.
Thank you, Mayor. As I have shared many times before, my parents came to Madera from Oaxaca more than 4 decades ago as undocumented individuals. They have for 4 decades worked in the fields of the Central Valley. Like many of you here, your hands are the true pulse of the ag industry of the Central Valley. And I think with us representing more than 70% Latino in Madera, at least 10% of our county is undocumented. We would be true advocates of our community if we were to move forward with this, with passing a letter of support and a resolution asking for support of SB 227. And this isn't giving, this is paying back what you already pay into. So I think we should move away from just like, this is not, you're not asking, you're taking back what you already pay into. You pay into it with every paycheck. So I think that it's the least that we can do to really show that we appreciate and that we recognize the, essential workers that have been affected both by, most recently by the floods and the pandemic. But long before that, I know that there have been so many catastrophes, and just, it's always a struggle. It's a struggle to be undocumented in the United States. So with that, I moved to, or I asked. Okay. But I will ask for that.
Yeah, under board.
Okay. Thank you.
Agendize.
Thank you, Mayor.
Council Member Villegas.
Yeah, thank you, Mayor Santos García. Yo les quiero decir a ustedes que yo les voy a dar mi apoyo. Yo voy a hacer todo lo que pueda en conjunto con los demás concejales y el mayor para que esto se llegue a una conclusión. Yo he sido agricultor desde antes que tuviera la edad mínima y trabajé en el campo muchos años, y los últimos años estaba yo trabajando en el campo. El 2020, cuando decido correr como concejal, estaba trabajando en el campo. Me gusta el campo porque trabajaba nomás 4 horas y yo sacaba lo que era mi día. Entonces, yo sé lo que es trabajar duro en el campo. Y trabajé con mujeres de Oaxaca, de Michoacán, de cualquier lado. Sé que esto lo necesitan. Y es muy importante para ustedes porque pues en el campo es temporal. Hay temporadas y este año pues por las lluvias y por la pandemia y todo eso, bueno, como les digo, tienen mi soporte, yo voy a hacer todo lo que pueda y voy a votar a favor de que esto se lleve a cabo para que ustedes tengan beneficios. Yo los usaba también porque trabajaba en el verano nomás y en el invierno pues agarraba el beneficio del desempleo. Pero es importante que tengan ustedes en cuenta que el desempleo tiene impuestos. Cuando ustedes agarran desempleos, cuando llegue el tiempo que ya puedan, tienen que decir que les hagan deducciones para cuando hagan los impuestos ya no tengan que pagar. Bueno, es algo que uno personalmente lo debe hacer, pero sí, yo los voy a apoyar. Mi apoyo lo tienen, 100%. Y gracias por venir y esperemos que en la siguiente junta esto se llegue, aquí en Madera se vote a favor y siga para adelante y vamos a hablar con el gobernador o con quien sea después de nosotros del City Council del concejal y el mayor para que esto se lleve a cabo. Gracias por venir y que tengan un mejor tiempo ya que ahora ya se quitó la lluvia para trabajar. Que tengan un poco de salario, ¿verdad? Porque yo sé que todos están atrasados por la lluvia y ahorita necesitan ayuda. Gracias por venir.
Gracias. Councilwoman Evans.
Buenos dias. Me llamo Anita Evans. I want to say thank you for all that you've done. As a young child myself, I've worked in the fields. My father was also a contractor. I've picked cotton. I've worked in the grapes. I've climbed the trees and cut peaches. The things that you all do are so very important. They touch my heart and they touch this community. Without each and every one of you, we would have nothing because there's so many people that would not even want to go out there to do the things that you do. I see a lot of you that walk along the riverbeds that are going to work to go stand and wait for the buses to come to pick you up. You guys get into the vans and you go to work early in the morning and your children are at home. Some of them are even walking the streets to go to school. It breaks my heart to know that you work and you're not receiving your fair share. So I want you to know that I thank you from the bottom of my heart. And whatever it is that we can do to help you to be able to get the bill passed, I so support it. And you guys keep on doing what you're doing because without you, we're nothing. So God bless each and every one of you. And I pass the hat, sir.
Councilmember Montes.
Yeah, I just echo a lot of the sentiments that my colleagues said. And I want to thank everybody for coming out and being brave. Because sometimes it's difficult to come up here and tell your story, even for me at times. And there's a lot more that you guys have on the line than I do. Sometimes we take things for granted. Some of the benefits that we have, and again, we do take it for granted. And it's kind of easy to say, well, I don't know about what you're going through. So it's very important that everybody here that spoke, that wanted to speak, and that is just in support, let the community know, let everybody know, and so that we can make good decisions that'll benefit the community. So thank you everybody for coming out.
Muchas gracias por venir esta noche. Vamos a tomar en cuenta este tema al final de la reunión hoy y esperemos el resultado para el próximo.
Mayor, if I may, I have one written public comment.
Yeah.
Good evening, City Council. I'm writing to ask that you support as a City Council Senate Bill 227 to ensure that our undocumented community members have access to unemployment benefits. As we end the COVID-19 pandemic and have gone through severe weather the past weeks, our undocumented families and neighbors have been left out of comprehensive and necessary benefits that would guarantee a healthy life. It is absolutely embarrassing that this country continues to fail a large portion of their communities and is okay with benefiting off the labor of the already marginalized and underserved. Please lead by example, City Council, and show our undocumented families, neighbors, and friends, a large portion of residents in all of your districts, that they can rely on our City Council to back them up, represent them, and have their best interests in mind. Thank you, Patsy, District 5.
So now we will close public comment. This item is informational only. We will take it up most certainly on informational reports.
I'd like to ask for clarification, Mayor, about item F, if it could be moved up and so that we give some kind of, where are we going to go with
direction again?
The item itself was moved up because they're all here and there's many of them. And so I think what Mayor Pro Tem is asking is that item F, which is when you put things on the future agenda, be considered at this time because they're all here right now. And that way they can hear what you have to say and don't have to wait until item F is called.
Okay, all right. So I will give you the floor, Mayor Pro Tem.
Yes, I would like to ask that we direct Arnoldo to write a letter of support, and also if it could be adopted as a resolution, the City of Madera supporting passage of SB 227.
So for clarification, the item would be that on consent calendar at your next meeting, there would be an agenda item concerning SB 227 with both a letter of support and a resolution as part of it.
Okay. So you need that as a motion, or is it just, it's
I'll second that.
So they do? Okay.
So it's a council.
No, you got a motion in a second.
That was a motion, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. All those in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposed?
Abstain.
Alicia, could you make the report?
Councilmember Gallegos,
Abstain.
Councilmember Rodriguez,
Yes.
Councilmember Montes,
Yes.
Councilmember Evans,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Mejia,
Yes.
Councilmember Villegas,
Yes.
Mayor Garcia.
Yes.
Motion passes with 6 yes votes and Councilmember Gallegos abstaining.
So if you could report out that it's going to be put on the next agenda under consent calendar. Muchas gracias. Ahora vamos a movernos adelante para los próximos temas, pero si quieren venir en la próxima reunión que tenemos, vamos a hacer esa resolución y ponerla en la agenda.
O quedarse.
Gracias. Just give them a minute.
¿Por qué se van? Quédense. ¿A dónde van? Falta más.
Faltan 3 horas.
No mientan.
We will now move on to item D3. Marcela, do you have this item?
Yes, Mayor, I do. Good evening, Mayor, council members. Oh, are we ready to start?
Yes.
Okay. The item before you tonight is to rescind resolution number 2305 with the revision to amend and reapportion $788,703 of the remaining PCM ISCA grant funds to the required corrective action plan for eligible projects within the city transit and fleet maintenance section. So a little bit of history on this item. The Public Transportation Modernization Improvement and Service Enhancement Account Program was created by Proposition 1B, the Highway Safety, Traffic Reduction, Air Quality, and Pot Security Bond Act of 2006. Of the nearly $20 billion available to transportation, $3.6 billion was allocated to PTMISCA to be available to transit operators over 10 years. So a summary of this item, on January 18th, 2023, Council adopted resolution number 23-05, approving the submission of a cap to the Department of Transportation, authorizing use of the remaining $836,556 of PTMISCA funds for other eligible capital projects within the city transit and fleet maintenance section. While the cap was under review, Department of Transportation informed the city of required revisions. Table 1 is a summary of the requirements on behalf of the Department of Transportation. The first suggestion is that all project interests must be assigned to the procurement of transit vehicles. Staff is proposing the procurement of a transit vehicle with the total accrued interest of $159,738. The second point on behalf of the Department of Transportation is that the cap must include, 1, a public notice of the appropriation of PTMISCA funds, and 2, documentation confirming the approval of the reappropriation of funds. Staff proposes using tonight's meeting agenda as evidence of public notice of the intent to reappropriate the PTMISCA funds. Additionally, if this item is approved, the resolution will serve as evidence confirming approval of the reappropriation of funds. The third item requested by the Department of Transportation is that funds must remain assigned to the Madera Transit Center, which is the original project for these funds, for remaining proposed improvements. Staff is proposing to allocate $80,000 to improvements at the Madera Transit Center. The fourth and final requirement on behalf of Department of Transportation is for PTMISCA funds as provided by DOT must be reappropriated into the cap and resubmitted to DOT. Staff is proposing a revised cap with the eligible PTMISCA funds and the revised reapportionment to PTMISCA expenditure categories as approved by Council on January 18th, 2023. Table 2, this table is representing the dollar amounts presented to Council on January 18th, 2023. And the third column on the far right, these are the values provided by DOT. So we can see that the PTMISCA actual balance is $708,965 with an accrued project interest as of the date of this report of $159,738. For a total of $868,703. This table 3, these are the proposed revisions to the expenditures. So the expenditure categories are the same. They are the ones that were approved on January 18th, 2023. Preventative maintenance, vehicle procurement, fixed route amenities, facility improvements at the transit center, and facility modernization at the intermodal center. The middle column is a dollar amount that staff requested and Council approved during the January 18th meeting. The column on the far right are the amended or the revised dollar amounts per each funding category. The one thing to note is that you will see 0 in the facility improvements transit center. That item is addressed in a little bit, actually in the next slide. So the total for the revised revisions for CAP is $788,703. The fourth table, this is where staff is proposing to allocate $80,000 to the original project, so to the Madera Transit Center enhancements. What we had to do is the cap is identified as a new project and so we had to allocate everything but whatever we wanted to leave in the original fund amount, which is this fund amount here. So that is why it is extracted out. And again, we're proposing $80,000. Tonight's recommendation is for Council to adopt a resolution approving the amendment to rescind resolution number 23-05 and approving the submission of a cap to DOT to reappropriate $788,703 of the remaining $866,703 of PTM ISCA funds for other eligible capital projects within the city transit and fleet maintenance section, and approving the retention of $80,000 for the completion of necessary improvements to the Madera Transit Center. That concludes my presentation, and I can answer any questions.
Thank you very much, Marcela. Are there any members of the public wishing to comment under public comment on this section?
Mayor, may I ask a question for clarification? On the agenda, on the recommendation, it talks about rescinding resolution number 23-05. However, the resolution does not have that language in it. Did you want that added to that?
Oh, the resolution.
Does not have that
mention that.
language.
Yes, we will have to rescind that resolution because the dollar amounts are different.
Okay, so the recommendation would be to amend the resolution to conform to the recommendation on the agenda.
Yes, the dollar amounts on the addenda are correct, but so that language will need to be in the resolution.
In this case, I held that we're just amending item D31.
Right. Your agenda is correct. So the public has the right language. That's what they relied on. The resolution itself that's attached is missing the language to rescind the resolution. So it's permissible to amend it on the floor.
Do we have any further public comment? I'll close public comment, bring it back to council for discussion and action.
Move to approve item D3 with the noted rescinding language.
I second it.
Okay. Motion to approve item D3 with the amendments by Councilmember Montes, second by Councilmember Evans. All those in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion passes.
Thank you, Council.
Thank you, Marcelo. We now move on to item D4, Madera Transit Plan Fixed Route System Revision.
This is also my item. Okay, so this item is for we're bringing back the Madera Metro Fixed Route System Revision. During the April 21st, 2021 council meeting, WSP USA Inc. was awarded the service agreement valued at $100,000 for developing the Madera Transit Plan Service Assessment. Phase 1 of the project concluded with the following deliverables adopted by council on September 21st, 2022. The Madera Metro Service Design Guidelines, as well as the Madera Transit Plan. Phase 2 focused on redesigning and restricting the transit system through public outreach. During the July 20th, 2022 meeting, council provided some feedback to staff. Council asked for improved connectivity for residents in the southeast portion of the city who access Madera Community College. So staff worked with WSP an additional transfer point at the Madera County Complex at Tozer Avenue and Avenue 14 was added. Residents of the southeast area will connect and gain access to Route 3, the Green Line, which provides service to Madera Community College. During the March 15th, 2023 meeting, council asked for consideration of ongoing service of the Amtrak station following its relocation to Avenue 12. Upon its relocation, the proposed Route 4, which is the blue line, will be modified to end in city limits, and residents may use Route 3, the green line, which serves the Avenue 12 corridor. Additionally, council asked consideration of service to the Rancho San Miguel shopping center for residents in Southeast Madera along the Tozier Avenue corridor. The transit plan was updated to allow Route 2, the orange line, to connect to the Rancho San Miguel shopping center. This route serves residents of Southeast Madera. So table 4 is a summary of bus stop changes. We can see the existing number of fixed routes at present are 3. We are proposing 4. The existing number of stops is 101. A total of 49 stops are being proposed to be removed. There will be 60 stops added. Proposed number of stops is 115. The net increase in the number of stops will be 18. And here is a summary of bus stop changes. So table 5, you can see the breakdown by, excuse me, by route. You can see the number of stops by route and the number of transfer points, the distance, and the route time. And Eric Bird with WSP is here, and he will go into more detail about the revised routes. Sharing, Eric. Do you have the presentation? Yeah, do you have it? Yeah, yeah, I'm sorry. I didn't. Yeah, but I don't have it here. 1 second. No, I don't have it here. Oh, we do have a PDF. Thank you, Ronaldo. Yeah, we do have the PDF, but where is the PDF? Agenda and just okay, let's see. Is it here? I don't know. Oh, yeah. We can go online. Yeah. Oh, wait a minute. Sorry. Yeah, I'm just going. It should work. I'm just going to share it now, so I can.
You can't wing it, Eric?
Transfer it over. Okay. Oh, but you know, okay. So I would just now I would just slide it over here, right? Yeah. Okay. There you go, Eric. Sorry about that.
You know, can just let me try something really quick? Don't mind. Yeah, that's what I was. That's fine. So then slide. Right.
All right. Good evening, Mayor Garcia, Mayor Pro Tem, fellow council members. My name is Eric Bird. I'm with WSP. It's nice to see everyone in person finally. So as Marcella mentioned, I'm here to go over our final route proposals. We've gone through a good number of revisions to make sure that we are responding to the necessary comments and make sure that the routes are serving key areas of the city and just making sure that we're improving the system as much as possible before we move forward with implementation. So I'm going to walk through the slide deck right here, which we've streamlined because for the previous, when we came in March, that's where we provided more of a background of the project. So right now I'm going to just go over the routes themselves and talk about the changes that we've made and answer any questions or anything like that. So on this slide right here, we have a system map. So on the left is the existing route map, and then on the right is the proposed. As you can see, we are going, as Marcella mentioned, we're going from 3 routes to 4. So you can see that blue line that is going to be serving the northern part of the city. That's new service that we're adding. We've also streamlined a good amount of these routes, basically trying to make them as straight as possible. That helps with reliability of the routes, making sure that the buses are showing up to their stops on time, and helping with travel times as well for riders. So this is kind of a holistic view of the network, and I'm going to go into the individual routes themselves. So I'll start with the purple line, which is most or closest to the existing Route 1. We're moving from route numbers to giving them names based off of colors, sort of to signify that this is a new network and getting people used to that. So as you can see with this route here, we haven't changed much compared to what we brought to you in March. Really, the only change is that southeast portion of the route. Instead of continuing along Sunrise Avenue, we brought the route down along Roosevelt Avenue over to Olive Avenue and then terminating at that transfer stop that you can see along Tozer Street. The reason for that is that we wanted to serve this portion of the city a little bit better. There's a park over there and a few schools over there as well that we wanted to make sure that we were serving with this route path. So this route compared to the existing route 1 is much shorter. So we're hoping that we can improve travel times in terms of getting the route back into service when it completes its trip. We've also made sure that the routes were more evenly spaced out. That helps, again, with making sure that the route is more reliable and basically is able to show up when it's scheduled to. So next, this is the orange line proposal. When we came to you in March, we sort of had an open-ended, I guess, a topic that we wanted to address, which was service along Tozer Street, north of that transfer point that you can see right there in yellow. So we decided to bring this route along Tozer Street up to terminate at the Rancho San Miguel Market, as you can see there. So we're providing, again, new service along Tozer Street in response to what we heard from the last meeting. So this route, it's probably this and the green route are the longest routes in the network, in the new network. However, as you can see, it's hitting a lot of key destinations. And we've also been able to keep the route path generally straight. It's not making a lot of sort of twists and turns other than getting onto the major roads that we're trying to serve. So this is our proposal for the orange line. And next I'll show the green line, which is the route that's providing service to the community college. I want to point out right here, this dashed green line, as Marcella mentioned, this is to reflect potential future service to the relocated Amtrak station. So right now we are proposing to have the route terminate at the community college, but once the Amtrak station is relocated, there is potential to extend that route out to serve that relocated Amtrak station. Another change based off of or compared to what we presented to you in March is this extension here along the sort of the southern end of Tozer Street compared to the northern end, which is what the orange line will be serving. We brought this route up to serve Tozer Street to hit this transfer point right here. So riders have an opportunity to transfer to either the purple line or the orange line and then continue service out to the community college. So last is the sort of the new route in the network, which is the blue line. Again, here I want to point out the dashed blue line. With this represents potential future service. As you can see, we're serving a portion of the city all the way up to the existing Amtrak station. And as I mentioned, once that station is relocated, the dashed blue line indicates how the route will be terminating. So it won't be going all the way up to the Amtrak station once that's relocated. But for now, we are proposing to have it extend up there along Road 26. So bringing it back to the full system map, as you can see, we're serving a good amount of the city where we've shortened some routes and sort of adjusted where they serve to serve key destinations in the city, and also these transfer stops as well that you can see in yellow. Those are going to be opportunities for folks to switch from one line to another to get to various points around the city. So it's a more of a cohesive network and not trying to make one or two routes try and serve all portions of the city, which can hurt with reliability. And as I mentioned, the buses don't show up on time, and it hurts riders not being able to get to their destination on time and things like that. So next steps, obviously we are presenting these final routes for your approval. And if they are approved, we'll be moving forward with the implementation process, basically taking all these new routes, updating the maps, updating the signage and everything like that, educating the public as well on all the changes so that on day one, which we are anticipating the new service going live in July, that everyone is aware of the changes. They know that this route goes here, this route goes there, this stop will be serving this route, making sure that everything is in place and runs as smoothly as possible on that first day of service. So that's the end of my presentation. I can hand back to Marcella.
Good morning. So tonight's recommendation on behalf that staff is asking is for council to adopt a resolution approving the revision of the city's transit Madera Metro fixed route system. And that does conclude our presentation, and we are available for questions.
Thank you very much. Do we have any members of the public wishing to speak for this item?
My apologies. I probably totally missed it because you kind of went a little bit fast at the end. But Did I understand that if the changes were approved, that there would be outreach done to inform the community about the changes? And then I was just going to suggest if it gets approved to change, I'm assuming they would be on the buses. If it can be in different languages. Thanks.
Any further public comment? Do we have any members of the public either written form or on Zoom?
We have none, Mayor. Thank you.
Okay, I'll close public comment, bring it back to my colleagues for discussion and or a motion.
Motion to approve D4.
Second.
There is oh, I'm sorry. It's okay. It's okay. We all want to move along because it's going to be a long one tonight. Mayor Pro Tem Mejia.
I just would like to thank David and Marcella for your work and for working with council. Thank you very much. And it's nice to see these routes more equitably distributed. So that's all. Thank you.
Thank you. I also would like to thank you for doing the work. Thank you very much. We have a motion by Councilwoman Evans and a second by Council Member Villegas. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mayor and Council.
Make sure you invite us for the day one, date and time.
Absolutely. We will let council know when we do go live. Absolutely.
That would be great. That would be great.
Thank you.
Okay, we will now move on to item D5, declaration of surplus property and approval of piggyback purchase agreement for paint stripping trucks.
So who had that item? Because Arnold had to step out.
Mr. Hickman, do you have this item? Jamie?
He's not on the call.
We can skip that item and we can come back to it. We can go on to item D6, public hearing relating to the formation of underground utility district number 20, located at Yosemite and Elm Street. Mr. Helmuth?
Yes, thank you, Mayor, Council. I'm just going to go ahead and do a quick introduction. Haley Christensen will be giving the presentation tonight, and I wanted to introduce you to her since this is her first time making a presentation to Council. She's been with us for a couple of months now. She's doing well, and this is her first presentation, so I'm sure she's going to do quite well. Anyway, thank you very much.
No pressure.
Haley, you're up.
Thank you so much for having me. Share my screen. Okay, so thank you so much, Mayor and Council. Tonight we are.
Haley, we are missing the main screen.
How about now?
There you go.
Okay, thank you. Again, Mayor and Council, thank you so much for having me. Tonight we are looking at the formation of underground utility district number 20 at Yosemite Avenue and Elm Street. A little bit of background. In 1968, the city of Madera adopted the Municipal Code Title III, Chapter 8 to allow for the formation of underground utility districts. PG&E facilitates underground utility districts through Rule 20A. This is a combined initiative between the city of Madera, PG&E, cable and telecommunication companies. This presentation is being conducted to determine the necessity of the formation of the underground utility district for these qualifying reasons. So undergrounding will eliminate a heavy concentration of overhead distribution of electric facilities. Street right-of-way is extensively used by the public and carries a heavy volume of pedestrians or vehicle traffic. And then street right-of-way passes through a civic area, public recreation area, or area of unusual scenic interest. A brief overview of Rule 20A. PG&E will perform the project design and coordinate with telephone and cable companies. They will also schedule construction and coordinate with the city on this installation. Adjacent properties utilizing these lines that are to be undergrounded will have existing points of connection for services converted for the undergrounding of the electric facilities. So the conversations with the property owners will be coordinated with PG&E as well as the city. Costs associated with undergrounding that are covered by the utility companies include all of the costs associated with undergrounding the overhead utilities within the street right-of-way, conversion of existing connection points from property owners, up to 100 feet of trenching for each customer outside of the street right away, and then necessary electric meter panel hookups. Costs for the undergrounding that would potentially fall to the property owner would be meter panels and or existing electrical connections that are not up to code currently. Here's a location map of the proposed underground utility district at Elm Street and Yosemite Avenue. And for the cost of the project, currently we have $465,510 in Rule 28 work credits with PG&E. Last year, we had $510,128. As you can see, they have been decreased. While in the process of connecting with PG&E regarding forming this underground utility district, we were changed to an inactive status and thus had funds reallocated. In an attempt to preserve the funds and protect the ones that we currently have, we have moved swiftly tonight to prevent further reallocation of these funds. And we propose this underground utility district to preserve these existing funds, as the gap will likely grow in the coming years, given that the city is not a high priority and the rising cost of construction. So for financial impact, the PG&E Electric, their Rule 20A program allocates funds annually for the undergrounding of these power poles, overhead utility wires, and above ground facilities. These allocations have essentially ceased in the last few years. So cable and telecommunication companies are also obligated to underground their overhead facilities once the underground district is formed. And thus, they will utilize these allocated funds to implement the undergrounding. So there would be no impact to the city's general fund. For tonight's action, we would consider discussion relative to the underground utility district and its approval of the resolution. And our recommended action would be to approve the resolution, making findings of public necessity, health, safety, and welfare, and establishing the creation of underground utility district number 20 in designated real property between Yosemite Avenue and Street. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Are the members of the public wishing to discuss this item? Seeing none, do we have any written or Zoom?
We have none, Mayor.
Thank you very much. I'll close public comment and bring it back to my colleagues for discussion and or a motion under item D6.
Motion to approve D6.
Second.
Motion to approve item D6 by Councilwoman Evans, second by Councilmember Villegas. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Thank you very much for the report and welcome aboard. We will now move back to item D5. I believe, Arnold, do you have this one?
Mayor, Council, thank you for your patience this evening and for allowing me to go back on the agenda one item. Council can just bear with me for a second as I pull up my presentation. The item this evening is a request to declare the city's lone paint striper, I should say striper, and to piggyback off of a source wall contract for the purchase of a new striper. A little bit of context here. The photo that you see is the city's existing striper. It's a 2007 striper. And these are used to mark on the roadways the yellow lines that you see on the roadway, the white lines that you see on the roadway. It's an older piece of equipment. The miles on these equipment sometimes is a bit deceiving because they travel at very low speeds to mark the roads. However, they do have a lot of use, and there's a lot of moving pieces on this equipment. So with that, whenever you have an older piece of equipment that's used heavily with a lot of moving parts, they tend to break down. So we do have a considerable amount of downtime on this piece of equipment. That's one challenge. The second challenge is that Air Resources Board determine when equipment must be replaced, and this piece of equipment can no longer be used in the state of California. That being said, it can be used in other locations, simply not the state of California, because it no longer meets Air Resources regulations. So the city, in its attempt to identify a potential piece of equipment identified in Easy Liner. So the company Easy Liner specializes in equipment such as this one. It's anticipated that a new striper would cost roughly $287,000. The existing striper, while it's older, it does have some trade-in value, which staff is anticipating $45,000. And I say that with not out tremendous confidence because we're assuming that it's worth $45,000, but you never know what the value is of something until you go to sell it. And again, the striper can no longer be used in California. But with that being said, it can potentially be used in other states that have less strict air resources guidelines. On top of that, this is very common to the McNally Park playground. We are proposing that we piggyback off of a source wall contract that would result in a discount for the city of roughly $13,700. So the source wall contract has this striper already that was purchased for a set dollar amount. And by the city utilizing that contract, the city could purchase it for the same amount. And then taking into account the approximate $45,000 that the city believes we can receive for the existing one, the cost to the city would be approximately $230,000. That's a photo of the striper that city staff is hoping to purchase right there. There may be a slight difference here and there on very minor pieces of equipment, but that's the pickup truck right there, or the computer apparatus that we are looking at purchasing. So with that being said, staff is recommending that the council declare the city's existing striper as surplus property, which would allow the city to use it for trade-in value and to purchase the new one through a piggyback, which is a source wall contract from the vendor Easy Liner. So that concludes staff's presentation.
Thank you very much, Arnoldo. Are there any public comments on this item? Alicia, do we have any written or Zoom comments?
None received, Mayor.
Thank you very much. I'll close public comment, bring it back to the council for action.
Move to approve item D5.
I'll second it.
Motion to approve item D5 by Councilmember Montes, second by Councilwoman Evans. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Thank you very much for that, Arnoldo. We will now move on to item E. Item E1 is the report on the emergency repairs to Avenue 13 sewer truck main at Granada.
Good evening, Mayor. This is Ellen Bitter, Deputy City Engineer. I have this item. And thank you, Mayor and council members, for allowing me to present. I think this will probably be our final informal update. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. Okay, we should be there. All right. So for this update, we've taken more of a picture approach. We wanted to recap the project with the picture story. At last count, there was 2,350 pictures in the file. So Mayor, you weren't kidding. It's going to be a long night. No, I have tried to reduce that so it'll flow quickly. I decided to do it week by week. So, and we are now in week 16 of this project. So you guys can do the math on the pictures. Very first week was our initial collapse. Not too bad, as you've all seen this picture at the many previous updates. The second week was when our major collapse occurred due to the heavy rains that happened that weekend prior. We mobilized for temporary pumping and then the permanent bypass pumping that was in place throughout the rest of the project. So also that week was when PG&E arrived on scene with minimal notice and was able to remove the conflicting pole that was about to fall in the hole, reset 2 new poles and clear the site so we could start our work. Week 3 was when we started investigating and making sure that we weren't going to run into trouble with other utilities that were in the roadway. There was a high pressure or a 6-inch gas main in Pecan that we were working around, and one of the city's 12-inch water mains also paralleled the project. That's the picture on the right. The picture on the left is a typical sewer main plug that gets inserted into the manholes, and that's how they plug the lines so that you can then pump them, up and around, and then discharge them further downstream. And those were the plugs that gave us so much trouble, and we were having trouble actually setting them in because the pipe was so fragile that every time they'd inflate the plug, it would start to collapse the pipe. And that's where we ran into the need to increase the scope of the improvements because we just couldn't plug the line. So, and that was discovered primarily January 21st. It was a Saturday. And those that have been working on this project, we remember the dates and the times when all these things happened. That was Saturday, the 21st. We got called out to the site because there was a secondary collapse, and this was under the railroad tracks. So that's what triggered the additional repair, and also down Pecan Avenue because we just, as I stated before, could not plug the line. So we had to chase to where we got some good pipe that we could build a manhole that would accept a plug. Also, the following week, we were investigating the area, trying to find the end point of the 27-inch that goes under the tracks. And that's when we discovered that there was quite a large void caused by that collapse of the line. And this is on the southeast side of the tracks. And so that initiated a very large repair on Saturday, January 28th. During that week, the railroad had to stop moving their industrial trains and using the tracks. But that was a closure that only lasted 1 week because of this action. So we were able to get them moving again, just with a 1 week closure. So week 5 is the end of January, start of February is when we started actually repairing the pipe, putting in the large 42-inch line that was the original collapse. This picture just tries to show you the magnitude of the excavations that took place out there and why there was, obviously we had to have the road closed for so long, and also the extent of the paving restoration that took place. This is a bird's eye view of the work that was happening that week, showing the pump configuration. And then here are the shields that protect the workers, and they were working on that pipeline replacement. Continued working on that 42-inch replacement through week 6. On week 7, we were completing that 42-inch coming into on the picture on the right is the, I'll call it a giant concrete box structure. And that's where all the pipes converged to the 42-inch that goes out to the plant. And so they had to get in there and make repairs and investigations to be able to receive the new pipe that was being installed, actually now coming in from 2 of the 3 directions, the 27-inch under the railroad and also the 42-inch from the original collapse. While that was happening, the railroad took advantage of our road closure, and we have pictures of them replacing their concrete panels on the crossing. So, I think that was a fair effort on their part, and they were good partners with us. So we're happy that it worked well for them too. In week 8, we were able to access the casing that was existing under the railroad, and the blue pipe here in the picture on the left, it's got these wooden skids on the top and the bottom, and they had to fabricate those in the field. That was, I think that was also a Saturday. I was out there looking at that. And that's what got fed underneath the tracks. And so that was week 8 was when they were able to accomplish that. And at the same time, they're also working the other side of the tracks. So they had 2 crews working and continuing to work on this structure, getting ready to receive the new 27-inch, making the repairs so that we can close that up. So on week 9, they're continuing to work on both sides, and the pictures for that are on the following slides. You've seen these at your previous updates. This is the top of that structure. They've now connected the pipes, and they have repaired anything that was deficient from previous deterioration, and they capped it off with a concrete cap. And they were also working on the manhole structure on the other side of the tracks too. So this is the setup of the southeast side. It's a little confusing, but this excavation here is on the south side of the tracks where they were receiving the 27-inch pipe. So week 10, most of our pipe has been installed. A lot of the trenches have been backfilled, and then these are the final touches to those manholes where they provide these the round concrete structures, bringing them up to the roadway surface. And this piece here, it's called the cone, and that's what takes it from a 60-inch manhole to what we see at the surface, which is just the small manhole cover. This manhole is the one that was on Pecan Avenue. As you can see, we've had a lot of rain at this point. More rain. So March, we were inundated with a lot of rain. It didn't slow down the project too much. They were able to work, when they're working in the structures, it's okay if it's raining, and they were able to do that with some protection from that cover. Week 12, they have pretty much completed the underground work. And what we see here is they have excavated deeper than we normally would for a roadway, because a lot of that was wet material from all that rain. So we ended up having to over excavate the roadway, and then we backfilled with base rock. We put a textile liner to kind of hold everything in place, and then we continued putting our roadway materials, the additional base rock and the asphalt on top of that. So week 13, this is the base rock that has been placed. This is the layer that is right below the asphalt. They made nice clean saw cuts so we could match to it and complete the paving, which was week 14. And then there also had to, we put a collar, it's a concrete collar is what it's called, around all the utilities so that they don't get damaged with vehicles driving over them. Week 15 was last week. They finished some pavement markings. The thermoplastic stop bars were put in, and the stop legends on all 4 approaches. We also put in some reflectors on the northwest corner. That was at the request of the county. They have weighed in on this project, especially before we opened it up to traffic. They came out and looked at it. And then Union Pacific Railroad also came on site, and they reset their signal, their gate arm, and reconnected the wires for that signal. So that, I understand, is now operational. Haven't caught a signal or train going through there since then. And I think you're all familiar with this photo that was posted last week of the open roadway, and I know the community is very happy about that. So a little bit more work to do. We have our final striping, the final lane lines, the yellow and the white edge lines will go in this Friday. And then I just noted again that you will see some pavement that is not fresh and new, and it was damaged actually and marginal even before the project. So those costs are not eligible under any FEMA consideration for emergency work. So we couldn't do that at this time, but we will take care of that on a future rehab project. Again, I just wanted to show in this photo, this is the footprint now of the paving and the underground work of the whole site. And that is complete as of today. We're still, my costs are, estimated costs are still running about 2.7 million for the project. And again, there's no action tonight, but I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you for that report. Are there any members of the public wishing to make comments regarding this project? Seeing none, anyone else on Zoom or written?
We have none, Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We'll close public comment, bring it back to my colleagues. Councilwoman Evans.
Yes, Ellen. I would just like to say to you, your staff, the gentlemen that worked out there, Union Pacific Railroad, that was a task, and you guys took the helm and ran with it, and it is awesome. So to each and every one of you, thank you so very much for all the work that you've done, and pass the word on to everyone else, please. Thank you very much.
Thank you. That concludes that item regarding the report. As you said, hopefully we won't have any more reports because we're done with the trunk line. We will now move on to item F, council member reports, announcements, and future agenda items. This portion of the meeting is reserved for the mayor and the council members to make brief reports on boards, committees, and other public agencies and at public events, request updates, to initiate future agenda items, and to take action on matters initiated under this section of the agenda. Under this section, the council may take action only on items specifically agendized and which meet other requirements for action. Councilwoman Gallegos is not here. Councilmember Rodriguez.
Yes, thank you, Mayor Garcia. I just wanted to report to the council that today the Transportation Commission went ahead and gave direction to move on an RFP to get a consultant for the 2024 moving our Measure T to hopefully bring it back to the November 2024 election so that we can try to get that passed again. And with efforts of not only your public officials, but also staff and other organizations, we'll try to get out there to town hall meetings, outreach, so that we can get the word out of how important our Measure T dollars are, not only for our city, but for the county of Madera, and what that would mean if we would lose those Measure T funds, especially for areas that are in dire need, not only in the city, but also in rural communities in the county. So just want to report that back as soon as I get an update as far as how the RFP process goes. I'll make sure I bring that back to you. With that, everyone have a good night.
Thank you. Councilmember Montes.
Nothing to report.
Councilwoman Evans.
Be blessed. You guys go home safe. Godspeed, and pass it back.
Great. Mayor Pro Tem Mejia.
Thank you, Mayor. Tomorrow, we begin the Salt of the Earth conference here at the Madera Community College. As I had mentioned previously to my colleagues, you're all invited to attend. We have people coming to Madera internationally, sorry, it's late. And we will be having panelists speaking on different topics. I will be speaking on the importance of civic participation, along with Joanna, who's here now. And there will be different showcasing of food in Madera, and just different pláticas. This fundraiser is to eventually have a place for immigrants and refugees to a building here in Madera, to a public education center. So you're all invited to attend. And with that, that's my report. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Villegas.
Oh, nothing to report.
Yeah, I think we're done here. We will now adjourn. There is no closed session tonight. This meeting is adjourned at 9:45. Our next meeting dates are May 3rd and May 17th.
8:47, Mayor.
I stand corrected. Someone else has a timepiece. 8:47. Thank you very much, and you all have a good night.